Hello everyone and welcome to the Volvo V60 Polestar Engineered. This is a 2025 model. It no longer is in production actually, and we're gonna go take this thing out on a drive. Now before we go take this out on a drive, some quick specifications. We have the latest software in here that just came out in 2026 actually, so this is an all new software over there update we got on this vehicle. That's pretty cool. So we'll get to that in a little bit. Of course, this is a crazy powertrain. 2-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder powering the front wheels, 312 horsepower out back. We have 2 electric motors paired together that are disconnected from the front axle. That makes around another 140, 150 horsepower. Combined, we got 455, over 500 pound-feet of torque. This thing's pretty crazy, pretty powerful, pretty wild, and it's got a lot of performance. We have some really great 360 cameras and reversing cameras around us in this vehicle as well. As you can see, pretty crystal clear overall, and you can access them in both drive and reverse, which is great. We also have a few drive modes in here which we'll play around with while we're driving. So we have a hybrid, Polestar Engineered mode, which kicks on the engine immediately, pure EV mode, which makes it rear-wheel drive. I have a locked, almost like all-wheel drive mode, and we can actually hold the charge of our battery. So we're at 23 miles, we can hold it at 23 miles. You can charge the battery with the engine or put it in auto. So you got a lot of stuff you can play around with this vehicle. It's pretty dynamic, and you even have a almost like regen style 1 pedal driving mode. So we'll talk about all this in this video right now, but let's head off. We're going to start off in hybrid mode with auto battery, so it'll figure out all the stuff here. I typically personally like to drive with hybrid and hold actually, so kind of acts just like a normal hybrid, constantly recharging the battery and keeping our range. But most of the time it's pretty quiet actually in here. As you can hear that EV sound playing on the exterior, as is required by law. Steering in these cars, all Volvos, is generally really light and devoid of a lot of feel and feedback, but it's pretty quick of a rack actually. So you actually have this really kind of weird sensation of a really quick, direct steering response there, but the feel and the precision of as a driver, it just isn't super there, but it all kind of works in a weird way. If you've driven a lot of Volvos, you kind of know what I mean. I have the firm steering setting on. As you can see, the rack is pretty quick actually, but it's just that feedback and the feel that you're getting through the wheel isn't super high. You can make this a soft steering feedback as well, so it gets even lighter actually. But even in my old S90, I always drove that in firm. It just has a little bit more of a stiffer kind of artificial feeling to it. If you are using Apple CarPlay, it's wired. You do actually get that full map up here, including Waze, which is cool. As we go around a roundabout right here, we'll pop into the Polestar Engineered mode. So the engine kicks on. It's a little more dynamic. You get more revs out of the engine and this 8-speed gearbox as well. This car has these crazy manually adjustable Öhlins dampers on here, which surprisingly are really quite good in reality. Tires are pretty generally sticky, even though they're not super wide here. Holy cow, yeah, the performance out of this car is nuts. Going around a corner at speed, it grips really well, like surprisingly really well for what this car is. But the straight line performance and speed is rocket levels of quick. 455 horsepower. You remember, a lot of that's e-torque, so you really feel the rear end pushing you. It almost feels rear-wheel drive in some cases. It's quite crazy, and then the front ends pull. It's just a whole crazy experience sitting in the seat of this car. You get basically 2 drivetrains kind of just propelling you forward, and you kind of feel them almost interacting with each other in a way. But that instant electric torque is really quite satisfying. It really does rocket you out of a corner. But as I was just saying, going in a corner, it's really quite planted actually. It feels like it has a lot of mechanical grip, but you do feel the weight of this thing because of the battery pack. It's just under 5,000 pounds at the end of the day. So it isn't the lightest vehicle. It isn't, like an M3 Touring, even though we don't get that here in the US, but I would say it's the closest thing you probably could have gotten in the US, because we don't really get those kinds of vehicles here. It's really special, really unique, and I do really like the driving experience of it. It is 100% on the firmer side of things. It's definitely a firmer riding vehicle. It's got a lot of Polestar suspension tuning bits to it, so it's much stiffer than a typical V60 would be from Volvo. You get that thunderous electric torque out of a corner. It really does propel you forward, and then you really just kind of carry the rest of that speed here. Wow, these roads are terrible. Holy cow. So you really can actually kind of feel this right now as a driver on awful roads as we have here in New York, how stiff this chassis is. The whole car kind of moves in one piece together. It isn't the best thing for comfort, but for dynamics and keeping all of this weight in check, it does actually do a pretty good job, especially in those corners, managing that weight. You got a little body roll, you kind of feel it, but it has itself together in a really cool way, which is nice. Now, as I was saying, these dampers are adjustable manually. So under the hood, you have these few clicks you can kind of do. I believe there's like 20-ish clicks you can kind of set it to, from either firm or a little bit softer. The rear, you have to take the wheels off actually to adjust those manually. So you better find a setting you might like, or just leave it at the factory setting, because that's not something that's easily done. I'm sure they could have gone with an adaptive electronically controlled damper here, but every single Polestar engineered Volvo, from the XC60 to this to the S60, all had the suspension system. So it's kind of a cool, unique touch. You get that Polestar gold little look on there under the hood, so it looks quite cool, but you got to play around with that. But I think in the current setting that we got this from Volvo, it's quite good. It's a little bit stiffer in the rear, it feels, than in the front end, and there actually is a noticeable difference. It kind of feels a little bit more rear bias in that sense. And speaking of rear bias, I'm going to pop it into pure mode right now. So right now, it is a rear-wheel drive vehicle. So we're using now those two rear electric motors, so the ERAD system, in the rear axle. It makes around 150 horsepower in that range, a little over 200 pound-feet of torque. And it's totally usable around town. Now, when you have a full battery pack over here, you do get around, EPA claims around, I think 30 to 40 miles. They say on the higher end. In real world, it's gonna be around that 30-mile figure, depending on how you're driving. And the cool part about this is you can drive this car like an electric vehicle. So sure, we're in rear-wheel drive mode, flooring it, you're not being launched back into your seat, but you got some acceleration going on here. If you do come out of a corner and kind of step on it a little, you kind of get a little rear wheel slip as well, which is fun. You can pop this into B mode now, and now it's regenning almost in like a one-pedal driving style, like a full EV does. It's pretty cool of a driving experience. So if you're someone who's, commuting with this back and forth to work, charging it at work if you have that ability, or at home, you can get some additional regenerative braking on your commute by popping it into B mode there. And it's pretty aggressive. You can see that green line on the dash showing that level of regen, pulling us back, and it really will bring you to a full stop if you're kind of timing it right. It kind of works, and if you have your auto brake hold on, it acts almost as a one-pedal driving situation. It's pretty cool, and it does work well. I actually enjoy driving like that. You can also use this B mode with the engine on as well, since you will always have those electric motors sort of working here. Friction brakes obviously always work and are very, very powerful on this V60 Polestar Engineered. Quite strong friction brakes, which I like here. Pop it back into Polestar Engineered mode there. Here the engine kicks right back on. And this is actually the only way we can manually shift in this vehicle. So we're in first gear now. Second, third. You have to do it via this crystal shifter we have in this particular model, which is not the worst thing. It actually is pretty quick shifts from this 8-speed. This is an ACN automatic gearbox. I actually quite liked this transmission in my S90. It has a little bit of a raspy shifts in it when you're kind of going on it aggressive. It's pretty smooth nonetheless. I never really had any issues with it. Coming to a stop is quite nice. Like I mentioned, we have the auto brake hold there. Now, when we get onto the highway, I'll kind of play around with that charging the battery setting there. We also have a creep mode here. So if you're someone, if you don't have auto brake hold on, who likes to kind of creep a little bit in traffic, if you're in stop and go traffic, you can turn that on or off. Otherwise, if you're in B and you don't have that on, it'll kind of come to a full stop, just like an EV, for example. This thing is not slow. It's, it doesn't have a lot of engine or powertrain characteristics coming out of it as you would expect from something that's like north of 70 grand, high performance. Volvo's 4-cylinder engines don't sound bad though. I think they have a cool kind of unique tone to it. It's not raspy, it's not rattly, it has this kind of raucous, almost little racy kind of feel to it, which is derived from those Polestar racing cars of back of last decade actually. So we have a pretty big turbo, well not big turbo, but a good amount of boost on this engine. You can hear those turbos playing under the engine. Now, we don't have that crazy twin charge system anymore, the supercharged, turbocharged. I think there was a bit too much going on there, but the way this car delivers the power is pretty linear, actually, which I quite like. Now, going around town, just driving casually in the hybrid setting, it's pretty comfortable. Yes, it's a firmer ride, but you don't have that aggressive throttle tuning when you're in hybrid mode, such as with the Polestar Engineered mode, and it feels quite nice. And you know, you can just switch into that EV mode if you would like as well for a really comfortable driving experience. We can turn on and off our map there, but I wish there was a little bit more of a customizable cluster design there. They've never really done that. They've always really been having the gauges without the map or the map on, and the more recent Volvos, you can pop up your trip computer if you want via this little button there, but it's never been the most customizable thing in the world, which I've always kind of nitpicked at, even with this latest software update here. Visibility out of these cars is fantastic, as you would expect out of a Volvo. Great angles all around you. I love how zoomed in these rear view mirrors always are on the Volvos. They don't typically do the camera ones, but you don't really need it in this car, unless you have like rear passengers back there. And right now we're actually in auto hybrid, so it's acting as an EV right now. And the second we hit that little moving kind of fuel indicator there, it kind of shifts depending on where it thinks you need power. It will turn on the engine. So we'll pop it onto Polestar mode now as we're entering the highway here. Around a corner. Oh, yeah, you notice the weight. You do notice the weight, but it just always stays planted and you always have grip. That's what I like about this car. It has a really predictable performance characteristic to it, which I think is really great. And again, that straight line performance is just nuts in this thing. So we'll pop it into hybrid here for a second. And just for fun, I'm gonna turn on the charge mode here. So when I turn on charge, now the engine is both powering the front wheels, the rear wheels are being electrically driven, and the engine's also charging up the battery pack. It's around I think 18 kilowatt hour gross battery pack, but usable it's around I think just under 15 kilowatt hours here. So I don't usually recommend this mode. It's not the most efficient way to kind of use this vehicle. You have the plug, you can charge it at home or at work or wherever you can. Otherwise, just kind of drive it in hybrid auto or hybrid hold. I think that's the best way to drive it if you're not someone who's charging it and plugging in all the time. But I wouldn't really get this car if you're not going to plug it in. It kind of makes it a little bit pointless since you have that battery pack here. On the highway though, we have Volvo's really great pilot assist systems. It's nothing too crazy advanced, but I've always kind of enjoyed it on my car. It's pretty confidence inspiring. On the left hand side of the steering wheel here, you pop it on and that's it. It's just a really easy, simple control. And now you have full lane centering with steering assist, lane keep assist, and the radar adaptive cruise control. And it's really good. If it had a eye monitor here and the software to make it do, hands-free driving, it totally could. I would love to test that out on the newer generation EX90s. I believe they have some higher levels of those systems that can do that right now. One weird thing that Volvo's has always done is when you go up and down to change your speed, it's increments of 5 by default with a short press. You have to hold it to do increments of individual ones there, which is a little odd. So that's a little bit different than how other vehicles typically do it. And you do have your distance control right here. So we have a few different, we actually have quite a lot of distance adjustments in Volvos. So some of those cars will allow you 3 to 4. You got like 5, or like let's say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different settings there. So you get a little extra adjustment there in the Volvo. If I press this little indicator to the right, you see it now, instead of a steering wheel, we just have a car, and that means it's no longer steering assist. You just have just regular radar adaptive cruise control. So I press it to the right there, it goes back to that steering assist with the hands-on function there. And you really just get this gold indication throughout the system. There's nothing really else kind of indicating that you're in that system there. You don't get a dedicated whole screen for that like some other vehicles do, but Volvo likes to keep it nice and clean, as they should, I would say. Using this infotainment system is pretty easy. I actually like this software update. I've seen a lot of people complaining online about this, that they don't particularly like it. I think it's way quicker and easier to use than before. For example, if I just want to make a quick temperature adjustment, I can just tap the temperature and quickly do that. Or I can just quickly tap this and change my heated seats or heated steering wheel pretty easy. Or I can just use the Google Assistant, so I could say, hey Google, For example, if you have that activated, I believe that's turned off on the car right now. Otherwise, I could just press turn on my heated seat.
Okay, turning on the seat heater for the driver.
It's a really flawless system. So, you know, Volvo didn't have to engineer their own voice assistant from the ground up. So they just borrowed Google's system like a lot of manufacturers are doing these days, including European and German ones. Luxury automakers are doing this too. So it's a pretty reliable system. You can kind of use some other functions throughout the system as well, like change your temperature adjustment, fan speed, and all of that. As well, so that's pretty easy to use. You have your Apple CarPlay, which is a little bit smaller than before. I think that's a little odd, but it works fine. It's pretty quick to touch. All the responsiveness thing of this system here is actually feels like it's been improved over the years just via software updates. So there's all that great stuff here. So I really would not be too worried about that in these newer Volvos. If you didn't like it before, try one out with this system. You can just update it as well, which is pretty cool. So I'm glad they're kind of introducing these updates over the years to keep their cars from like 3-4 years ago fresh and up to date. I actually really like that. It's really cool of Volvo to do. But at the end of the day, it's a little bit of a bittersweet review we're doing here, as this car is no longer available on sale in the US market, and it almost seems Volvo is turning away from their iconic wagons. We're going a lot of SUV heavy focused, electrification's big and heavy now, and this Polestar engineered trim also appears to be disappearing. I believe only the XC60 Polestar engineered may be left as of 2026 right now. The S60 is gone. This V60 Polestar engineered is gone, and Polestar, as we know, as a brand, is its own real separate entity now at this rate. So it doesn't really make a lot of sense to keep that name sticking around. And the Volvo lineup we're seeing in the EX90 and the upcoming EX60, they're kind of changing their sportier-ish or higher power trims to be performance labeled instead. So you can kind of see that name change happening there. Hopefully, I really hope down the road we see the return of Volvo's iconic wagons. I'm sure this hopefully is just a little stopgap we're in right now, and we'll kind of see a big glorious return to these amazing vehicles that really built Volvo's identity as they are today. It's just such a practical car. Sure, it doesn't have the best interior storage in the front end because of this plug-in hybrid system, but you really can just haul your family around in this really fast, great, fantastic looking, exterior wise, timeless cabin wagon from Volvo. And I think they do that stuff really, really well. And if I had the money, I would indeed buy one of these myself. I do love it so much. So I would put my money where my mouth is if I was able to in the current moment now. But great car. Thank you, Volvo, for letting us experience this now outgoing Volvo V60 Polestar for the week. And of course, stick around for full driving reviews, of course, our full review and a full infotainment and software tour of this whole new system on our channel at Allcarnews. Thank you again for joining us on yet another full tour and review, and stick around for more coming soon. Cheers.